we reached out to Dell with this project, and we wanted it to be how me as a creative works with my creative brain, but also needs technology to get me from A to B, and how that works and how the synergy works between these two things, allowing you to actually make a project and not be hindered by all the things you have to do, because that part should be easy. So Dell seemed interested in the project, and we came up with this idea to shoot this kind of a day in the life of a ballerina. I'd spent most of my pandemic creating a book of 140 dancers of all different disciplines, from ballet to rock and roll to Broadway to hip hop. And I really wanted to get more of a sense of what their day was like, because they would come to me and they would do this incredible little performance and then they would leave. And it made me really curious about what that life was, how their day was actually spent. So we had the idea for the film, and we did not have any idea for the film. I had an idea to make a film, or to make something with the dancer, with the ballerina preferably. And I called you, and I think we said, let's sit down and have this kind of creative meeting.
Yeah.
Then you kind of said day in the life, right?
Yeah, I mean, you had said that originally, and I just think there's so many day in the life stories, and there's so many films that it's always beautiful to just see like a dancer dancing on film, even if there is not a story with it. But I kind of wanted to take it a little farther, just so it wasn't like another dance on film, or a story about what is it like to be a ballerina. But I think we just came up with this wonderful story about a person, and all of us have this inside of us. That has this light that they might not feel all the time, but for me, when I'm dancing, when I'm performing, it comes out and I feel alive, and then that transfers on to the audience or to other people. And it's so special, the work that each one of us does, whether you're a dancer or a photographer, a filmmaker, a producer, anything, even a homemaker. A lot of your work no one sees. The moment when, even if just one person saw or one person noticed, there's still that transference of the appreciation of the discipline of the daily struggle.
Now, I've never done a storyboard before, and it was definitely pretty challenging for me. But I found that using the things I knew about, I'd Photoshop. I would use Photoshop on the Dell, and I would be able to, if I wasn't sure exactly how to draw something, I would underlay it and sketch over it. And all of a sudden, I found that we had a kind of reasonable looking storyboard, which I'd never attempted before. And that's really a prime example how the technology helped me, but it didn't hinder me to get from A to B. So our sponsors for this project are the people that paid for it, Dell Technologies. Now, I can say, I think, pretty precisely, because when you sent us an invoice, it was handwritten on a beautiful sheet of paper. Like beautifully handwritten, like Charles Dickens type invoice. You owe the thumb of, and I know that you're not technologically minded. Is that fair?
That's fair. Because of my work, I don't work in an office, so I've never had to, even before what the age we're in now, send a fax or any of this stuff. I have a smartphone. I can email and do that and get online in a few apps. That's about it. It's not that I don't want to learn about it, but I'm not fluent in it. And also, I just feel like my things always, for some reason, doesn't work for me. So I just decided to keep it simple.
You see, this is really interesting, because we used a lot of technology on set, but I think we used it in such a way that it didn't interfere with the creative. One of the things we did, Megan, which I don't know if you noticed or not, is that we offloaded our files to a super powerful computer, so we could get playback off the camera. So they could be setting up the camera for the next shot, and we were standing watching the playback, and you could actually see what we were doing. And that's one of the things that I love about technology, or what is important to me, that it doesn't interfere. Like, and I get what you're saying, you want to send a text. You don't want to know how you're sending a text. You don't care why, you don't care where it's going. You just want to send a text, right? And I'm very much the same. And I was nervous about the technology on set, but the Dell stuff let me relax a bit and be more focused on you.
Yeah, it was surprisingly very efficient, I thought. It was.
No, it was.
And also just in the process to be able to kind of see, I mean, as we talked about, like, I love being involved sort of from what you see, to be able to see what you see. So right. To be able to right away after shooting something to see how it looks, like, to understand the changes that you're making with lighting, or all these kind of conversations production wise that go on behind the camera, to really understand like what you're talking about and why, and to see it. And so I loved being able to have access to that right away.
And you as a perfectionist, like, for instance, I couldn't show you color playback because you weren't thinking. I wasn't thinking in color. Mm-mm. I needed to see black and white. And not only did I need to see black and white, I needed to see it kind of somewhat what it was going to look like.
Yeah.
And I think the technology on set helped me with that. One of the scariest days of my life was we shot everything. We got it all done, and we're starting to pull stuff, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have to get Megan in to have a look at her dance stuff.
Because you're like, she's gonna cut everything.
She's gonna cut everything. Because one of the things that we agreed upon before was like, yeah, you can have your say here, but I'm overruling that. But if there's a shot that you, in the dance, that you don't like, I will not use it.
Yeah.
I should probably never have said that. I did say it, and you came over that day, and I don't know if the producer Jacob was as nervous as I was, but I was like walking around, you sat down and, very business Megan, very focused. And we started to play it, and as soon as we started to play it, I saw you kind of face light up a bit. I thought, okay, we're gonna be all right. And then about 4 frames in, you're like, no, let's go back. Okay, here we go. But we did, we went through all of it.
Yeah, we did, and I'm so thankful that you allowed me, first of all, that opportunity, but also the time it took. Because we sat almost frame by frame, and went through every single shot, and like, just I was more paying attention to making sure the line looks good, the technique of it looks good, and there would be there were some things where I was like, oh, I don't know, and you're like, that's gorgeous,
But I
had to, but it was helpful because I had to remember, not everyone watching this is gonna have such like a precise eye on the dance and be like, oh, like, she wasn't as turned out there, her foot doesn't look, as, in the right position there, that other people are going to see this. So, I tried to.
And the people that are going to really watch it closely are other dancers. Right? Well, I don't care.
They will. So I tried to leave enough things, so we had a large amount of material.
And you did. It wasn't restricted. And what was great was when we sent that to the editor, just like, don't look at any other dance stuff. This is the only dance stuff we can use.
Yeah.
And it wasn't problematic at all. Everything was there at least once.
Yeah, we did. We did have. And the other kind of fun thing that I experienced through that is some of the shots were just like absolute yes shots, and we all could see it like right away. Not just me being a dancer, but just we were like, oh my gosh, like, so that was cool too, because it's reassuring, I guess, and it informs you that it's going to read well to whoever else sees it.
When Megan came in to review the dance footage, it was great that we had the ability to show it to her so clearly. The amount of stopping and starting we were doing, going back and forward, and little cuts we were making, it was great that the technology just worked and didn't interfere with that process, because I can't begin to imagine the frustration if we were trying to do this and we're also having sort of like computer problems where she couldn't see the flow. So it was wonderful that that was just really easy on the technology side, which made the creative thing that was going on, you know, easier as well. So then comes a moment for me. I mean, I know how to work the buttons on an edit machine on Premiere Pro. I know where cut is, but I'm not an editor. An editor is that person that really, really has the ability to bring this to life. And at some point, you got to send them the footage. And the way I work with Bobby is I give him some notes, not exact, because I don't know. And we work back and forth, maybe with a little section. So he'll send me a section back. And Bobby usually sends it to me in such a way that I actually have the Premiere file. And I get that Premiere file back, and I'm able to maybe make a few adjustments myself before I say, hey, I think this should stop here. I think this should be longer. And we work back and forth like that. I'm extremely fortunate that one of my best friends in the whole world is a composer. And when I reached out to him about this project, he sent me a few like demo pieces that he thought might work for the dance scene. And obviously I sent them to Megan and Jacob and Lonnie, and we all landed on this one piece of music that had this beautiful build and then this release. And that's the one that we ended up using. And I know that different directors work differently. Sometimes the score is written to the piece, sometimes the piece is cut to the score, but we had the music. And I think that really helped us for Megan to be able to listen to that while we were shooting and move with it. And I think that helped us a lot in the post-production. Something that I really, really love to get right is color. So I make a real big effort to try and get that right. In photography, I found it's almost simpler. The machine's powerful enough to handle, you know, move a curve a little bit and you immediately get the response. And one of the problems I've had in the past when working in color in video is that if I'm trying to make a change whilst playing through a clip, a 4K clip or something like that, I've had lag and I make a change and nothing happens and I have to make a bigger change and then it's too much. But I found with the Dell Precision, I can make these tiny little changes and the computer is fast enough that in real time, these changes are appearing on my screen, and it makes it much easier for me to get exactly the color and feel I want kind of live. I love cameras, I love computers, I love tech, I love gadgets, I love anything that is kind of new and is trying to do something to make something work. And you know, if I buy a new gadget at home to play with, and you know, I'll say, hey, maybe to my wife, look at this, and whenever I show it to her as a demo, it never works. And you know, I'm willing to live through months of something not working because I think the outcome of it is going to be so cool when it does work. But that doesn't transcribe to when I'm trying to make something, because when you're trying to make something and you're at work and it's people's time and it's people's energy and it's people's input, the technology just has to work, you know. So working with a camera, I need that camera to be reliable. I need that camera to do what it's going to do. Computers, what we ask them to do now is absolutely incredible. The size of the video files we have and the way that we are able to play back without, you know, making proxies, and the demands that we put on our computers today and just expect results are phenomenal. But the hardest working team member I have is my Dell Precision. And in all honesty, it gives me the least amount of grief.